Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, your host for today, and I'm joined by Lorna today from GS1 UK, and we'll be talking about GS1 UK or GS1 barcodes and vendor central accounts. So Lorna, welcome to our podcast.
Hi Prabhat, nice to see you. It's been a while, been busy on both sides, I think.
Excellent, yes, yeah, likewise. So, so why don't we introduce yourself to start with, and then we can talk about more on the topic.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us today on the podcast. So I'm Lorna. I work for GS1 UK, the people that are most known for the barcode, but we're a supply chain efficiency standards body. So we set standards that enable businesses to work quicker, easier, cheaper together. And actually a lot of retailers around the globe use this. So we do a lot more than the barcode. So hopefully we can get into some of that today.
Excellent. So, well, GS1 UK numbers or GT numbers, as we popularly know it, as all of the Amazon sellers use it to list product on the seller central account. So how does GT number relate on the vendor central?
Yes, so as you mentioned, a GTIN is used to identify a product, but we have a kind of a whole suite of identifiers for different uses. So on Amazon vendor side, I'm sure everyone is well aware, but just for anyone that isn't, it's the Amazon part where they operate like a retailer and you wholesale to them. So for that reason, Amazon has obviously got to the size it is, and it needs to streamline their processes. So they actually operate like a typical retailer does now. So the likes of Tesco's, Sainsbury's, any of those sort of people that you might want to sell through, they have adopted pretty much the same processes that those big retailers do. So things like trying to improve the efficient receipt into the warehouse, and also using electronic ways of identifying the invoices going backwards and forwards, and also advanced shipping notifications to be able to understand what's due to arrive at the warehouse and when.
Okay, so if we take up any of these processes and talk us through, say, for example, when sending the parcel or product to Amazon warehouse through vendor central, how does the GTIN effector, what role does GTIN play to send the product?
So basically, when you're on the vendor side, Amazon will send you a PO and order a certain amount of stock from you. They will use the GTIN to do that, but in addition to that, they will send what is called a GLN, so global location number, to identify both themselves as the person that's ordered it. So that could be a number of different Amazon locations, and then also use the location number to identify the relevant distribution center that you should send it to. So that it works in the same way that a GTIN for a product does. A location identifies one specific location, so that there's no ambiguity around where you mean when you say Amazon, because it could be 101 different places, right? In addition to that, they've also have what they call is efficient receive. So it's basically the best use case way of getting a product into their warehouse as quick and as fast as possible. And they have two options for you to be able to do that. So they have a process called license plate receive, which is LPR, because obviously Amazon loves an acronym, or you've got GTIN receive, which is slightly different, but either what option that you use actually utilizes a different version of GS1 standards. So obviously the GTIN will be wherever and however you deal with Amazon, because they need it for their product catalog. But when you do it through license plate receive, that is using a process called EDI, so electronic data interchange. Now, EDI is nothing new. It's been used in the market for about 20 years, if not more. It's what a lot of the big retailers do. And it's basically just a way of taking what used to be a paper format of ordering. So, creating a proper invoice and faxing it like we used to. It's just an electronic way of doing that, so that you don't have to manually do anything. And we know that anytime manual intervention happens with humans, that's when the errors start. So the more you can automate, the better. So yeah, this would require the vendor to have an EDI service, either through a third party, or if you're a big enough brand, you might have the service yourself. And then you would just basically set up the ordering to match how Amazon wants it. And then they would send the POs, you would send the invoices and the dispatch notifications backwards and forwards. So it makes it nice and streamlined.
Yeah, so it's more of identification of the product in every stage of the process, from what I hear.
Yes, yeah. And then in addition to that, you would send them another identifier that goes onto the individual cartons to say, this is the carton, this is how many things are in it, and these are the types of things that are in it. And again, it's unique to you as the company, but also that particular shipment. So it removes any ambiguity in the same way that a GTIN does.
Okay, so this leads to another question. So, so as a brand, I'm selling to Amazon through a vendor account. So I obviously have a GS1 account as a brand, so I should have a GS1 account. So if not, so all these additional numbers, where do we contact GS1 to get those numbers, or how does it work?
So interestingly, when you become a member, you get a company prefix, and that is the first part of the barcode number. So the first part is to you as a business, and then the second bit on it basically turns it into a GTIN, because this is the product specific thing. Then, but actually from that prefix, you're allowed to create a number of different identifiers, and a GLN is one of them. So however many GTINs you've got from us, you would have the same amount of GLNs. So you can assign that to your different warehouses, even your individual locations if you really wanted to. It's used a lot in healthcare with individual hospitals, wards, beds, everything. And so it's got a lot of uses throughout different sectors, but it's used prolifically through retail as well. And then in addition to that, that prefix also allows you to create SSCC numbers. So what you would do if you've got a solution provider that's helping you out to do your EDI transactions, you would give them your prefix, and then that would allow them to create each different SSCC as and when it was needed for each different shipment. So it's all part of the same prefix, which I think a lot of people don't realise. You get a lot more from that little number than just a GTIN.
Okay, so so you have mentioned a lot of things through that, and some people who is used to it, obviously they can go in and create it. So for somebody new, is there any support through GS1 to help find this and allocate these numbers?
So obviously we can always help you. Our little number bank doesn't do allocation of SSCCs, but it's basically done on an algorithm. So you can even do it through an Excel spreadsheet if you needed to. But otherwise we can walk you through what it should look like and doing the setup. But I do believe that Amazon themselves actually have a user interface, so that if you wanted to do it manually, you could. And then it would allow you to do a creation of either using an Amazon specific one, but obviously the problem with using proprietary numbers is that it only works for Amazon. So you may end up wanting to do the same process for retailers, and then that's when you get stuck. But Amazon actually lets you put in your own SSCC prefix, and then you put them in yourself. So there's lots of different ways to do it, but yeah, I appreciate it can be a bit confusing when you first start.
Well, that's it. So for somebody who knows, obviously they will sail through very easily. So it's just the initial hurdle for somebody who's new to the vendor account. As you can imagine, when you're new to vendor account, you don't even know how to get a PO, organize a PO, and let alone try to do other stuff.
Yeah, so, definitely. And it comes in a lot quicker and faster on the vendor side than it does on the seller side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I guess it makes sense to just finish up with the other one, which is the GTIN receive process that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
It's slightly different, and this is mainly used within the food type of area of products, because Amazon is utilizing our GDSN network, which is basically a globally connected set of data pools that is predominantly used for food, which is why that's the most useful area. So a lot of the bigger brands are putting their product data into that, and already. So Amazon has just basically built a connection to that to enable you to use that if you're already on that network or want to use that network. But what it does is, because it's a lot more supply chain focused, it enables Amazon to get a lot of the more granular attributes. So things like the weights and the dimensions of all of the products. So it enables them, it's almost like you're preloading the information, and then when you send the product in, they just match it up to that. But in the same way that you would do EDI with a solution provider, if you wanted to, you would also need to have a subscription to a GDSN data pool.
Right. Okay. So there's lots of data going on.
Yeah. Obviously, product data is the king, right? Can't do anything without good product data.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, I think there's lots of information here. So I think it may be good to ask for me, actually, if somebody wants to, as a Vendor Central user, somebody wants to ask and contact with you, where is the best place to get to you and find out more about the relationship between these GT numbers and Vendor Central?
We've got a couple of articles on the website, so I'll share those links with you so that you can pop them into the comment section. And then also we've got a couple of webinars that we're actually doing with Amazon on these two topics. I think the end of May. So anyone that's on the vendor side, they should be getting an invitation from Amazon around that. But yeah, like I said, I'll share the links of the articles, but obviously over and above that, I'm here, and as are all of my colleagues, to help. So I'll share my contact information and the information for the support desk should you need that as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Lorna, for your time today, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.
Thank you very
Bye
much.
for now.
Bye.
Bye.